Yeah, we're live. We're back in the flesh for another episode of Hold That Settings. Obviously, international break is here. Bum international break, as I like to call it, because it's just dead. It's not important, irrelevant, and I just want to get back to the Premier League settings. So, yeah, this is Luke. Obviously, Liverpool's playing lunchtime Saturday. It's not always been a great fixture or a great return for Liverpool. Normally, those lunchtime settings tend to be either a draw or an L, but hopefully against Wolves, things will be different. But yeah, it's my boy Abdelaini. Introduce yourself as always.
Yeah, all good, all good. Boring weekend. No football. International was dry as anything. But yeah, man, just happy to talk about Premier League again. Back next weekend, revisiting our top fives to see if there's any changes. And yeah, man, going on from there.
Yeah, so obviously, as Margie said, like we're gonna review the top five. And I know what people are gonna say, yeah, but it's only been 4 games. But yeah, like there's nothing wrong in just going back on certain things that we discussed and just, you know, reviewing it really and seeing, whether the start to the season was predicted correctly by us or it wasn't. Obviously, looking at the league table, it's Man City first, Tottenham second, Liverpool third, West Ham fourth, and Arsenal fifth. Now, if the season was to end right here, then Arsenal would be in the CL because obviously now it stretches to the top five. It's very interesting though that it's predominantly London clubs which are in that category right now in the top five. Um, so yeah, is are the London clubs, on a renaissance? Are they trying to stake a claim, or will the up north eventually prevail? Obviously, I remember my predictions. Let's start off with Margie, though. I want to put him on the spot. Do you remember your predictions, Margie? You're muted.
Yes, I do.
There we
Yes,
go.
I do. I do remember my predictions.
Oh, okay. What was your predictions? Let's put you to the test. What did you predict?
I predicted Man City 1. I said Man United 2, Arsenal third, fourth was Liverpool, and Chelsea fifth.
All right. So because of that, and I said it in the last pod when you made that prediction, I'm gonna say it again now. That United one is still wild to me. So the floor is yours, bro. You can change that prediction right now.
Oh no, I'm definitely going to. I just felt like Ten Hag's been there a long enough time for him to actually needed to improve on last season. Last season they finished third with a trophy, so they needed to get second or higher. But they got a bunch of situations now that outside of football that I didn't account for. So um, that's led to their right wing being pretty much non-recognizable. So you don't know who they're gonna play there. Them looking at El Ghazi on a free. So like it's a different situation over there at Man United at the moment. And I think the biggest difference is from the first like day when we put those predictions out is because I expected United to do more in the transfer window. They did absolutely nothing really. They didn't make the right moves in order to improve their team. They've kept Maguire when he should have been gone last season. They brought in Johnny Evans on a loan. So for me, I think Man United aren't making top five anymore. Actually, if I look at how the team has played and what they've shown me so far, I don't know where they're going to finish, but it's going to be somewhere in the mid table right now. If you look at their team, they could turn it around, but they're going to need to make some Banduli signings in January. They're going to need to spend some P's, which they're not. And yeah, man, I don't know. The Ten Hag might be gone by January till at this rate. So who knows? But
So, so what would your prediction be now?
I'm gonna still go with Man City number one. But for second, my second's actually going to be completely different. I'm putting Liverpool second. I think the only thing stopping them is the DM, really. And Endo is good and he can get you second. But if you're going to compete against Man City, you need the best or close to the best. And the fact that you didn't put the money in to get that DM, for me, is the reason why I wouldn't put you first ahead of Man City. Also, I would say with the centre back situation, I didn't expect Joe Gomez to have such a renaissance this season. I think he's back to top fitness and he looks a lot better because last season, man was shaking his bum like Ice Spice against Matoma and them man there. So,
So
so
true.
yeah, so hopefully he can continue that because obviously it was looking long when Van Dijk and Konate were out, but the fact that you still took a big win against Aston Villa, a team that's looking promising and unbeaten so far, I think. I haven't lost a game. So I think the way you look and with your manager, he is pretty much the closest thing to Pep in terms of a manager you can get in this league. So I think you rebuilt your midfield. I think you rebuilt your strike force is lethal. Keeping Salah was a positive. I think if you can't find a replacement, there's no reason to sell him for how much money, even if they were asking for ridiculous amounts. And yeah, I just think you're a couple signings in January away from even mounting a title charge or even finishing first. So I'll put you second. Third for me is where I'm a bit confused in terms of third to fifth is I don't know where that's gonna go because I look at the teams that are up there and I don't really see consistency and I don't really see something that's gonna stick. Even when I look at Arsenal, they don't look like the same Arsenal of last season in terms of the way they play. They may die on the Kai Havertz hill because he shouldn't be in the squad and Party keeps getting injured. I don't know. Maybe he's having parties in Ghana or somewhere and keeps coming back injured. So he keeps going out for. But Declan Rice looks good. They've lost Timber for the season. So that's a factor that I wasn't expecting because they looked good with Timber in the squad. Now he's gone for the whole season. So they let go of a lot of players. They don't really have depth like that. So for me, third is an interesting one. I'm gonna still give it to Arsenal. I'm gonna still just, but I don't think there's gonna be many points in it. And there's a possibility that they don't even finish top five this season if they continue to play Kai Havertz in midfield and don't make the right necessary moves in January to bring in certain players. Because as soon as Timber was injured, they should have brought in another defender or someone who can play that centre back, right back role, and they never did that. So that could be a big deal for them. In terms of fourth, I'm not sure. There's a number of teams in my head that could finish fourth. I'm gonna respect Newcastle. I'm gonna put them back where they should be fourth because I had them out because I thought maybe Champions League, maybe this and that. But when I look at Tottenham and West Ham, I look at West Ham as a false pretense because they're playing a type of football in half of their games that isn't sustainable. You can't defend the whole game, counter attack, and be that lethal every game, every time against big teams. So against the bigger teams, you're gonna lose them more than you win them. In the start of the season, you win those because teams aren't fully in the flow yet. But during the season, when you're coming up against these teams away from home and stuff like that, you can't afford to have the mentality of a small team. You have that mentality, that means you're gonna go down the table eventually. And I don't believe in Tottenham either. So Anges has done well, but I just don't believe they have everything they need, and they're just a couple injuries away from being a bang average side. And you saw it when they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup. Their B team is looking like an E team, F team, G team, H team. All the way back to Z team because uh, them man are scrubs. So they get a couple more injuries and it's looking long for them, man. So yeah, I'm gonna put Newcastle fourth. It's going to be a long stretch. I don't know if they're going to make it there, but they're just the best of the rest in terms of outside of the three ahead of them. They'll probably be the best of the rest. Fifth is another one where I might have to change it. I don't think my team's getting top 6, top 7 at this rate.
Wow.
And
I'm surprised that you're not even backing your own team.
the thing is,
Wow.
I need my team to prove to me that they can do what they need to do to get the job done, because they haven't shown me in the first 4 games that when it comes down to it, are they willing to put the ball in the back of the net when the time comes? Because we could be unbeaten right now. In another universe, we are. But the one thing you need more than anything is goals, and I don't see them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm legally blind to goals right now because I haven't seen them in a year and a half. Like I watched the Legends game, and I saw ballers. I saw Zola on that pitch doing nonsense. Yeah, man, seeing Essien like prime Bison with the header and them thing there, and I'm thinking, bring them back. That team that we put out for a Legends game is better than our first team right now. Bring them guys back, fam. They're in the back. Bring them back, you know. But yeah, fifth. Fifth. I think, even though I think Tottenham will not finish top 4, I think they'll finish fifth. I think Ange will be let down by his striker in Richarlison, and Son is very inconsistent. He's good up front, but he's going to be very inconsistent, and that's the thing that's going to stop them from reaching top 4. I don't think Brighton and the other teams are going to get around them. Brighton's a long shot for fifth, but yeah, I'm going to go with Tottenham. I think the moves they made has made them a more balanced team. Madison is the steal of the window, and he is looking good. If they can keep him fit, I'm seeing 10 to 15 plus in assists, and he can, you know, and with the wingers and the stuff, and that left back Udogie, he's a dog. He is a dog. Like, he can become one of the best left backs in the league, and he looks quality. And the one thing that they didn't have last season was fullbacks that you could rely on. On that left side, they do. The right side, they may need to switch a couple things up. But I think Tottenham will finish fifth because they don't have the winning mentality to go Champions League or to go any higher than fifth. But they're good enough with that manager to get there, because obviously that club is more about business. They're more about go-karting and emptying their skyline and them features. They're more about Beyonce concerts, and that's their trophy. Oh, I got to see Beyonce live. My Tottenham season ticket got me a Beyonce ticket, you know, as a bonus. That's my top 5.
No, I get that. I'm surprised still. I'm not even gonna lie. That Chelsea one, it's not even just out of biasy. You know, I'm actually just surprised at that. I'm not gonna lie. But my first 2 isn't gonna change. City still to win it for me. As much as I would love to say my team will win it, I just feel like, again, yes, we rebuilt our midfield, but the rebuild, was it really a rebuild? Like, let's be real. Like, the 2 centre mids quality is what we've been lacking. We haven't had a forward thinker since Gerrard, since Alonso. So to bring in the guys that we did was a no-brainer. And it just changes the dynamic of playing hoof football to now possession base on the floor, bringing in our wide players, bringing in our forward, you know, providing the through balls out wide, through the middle, you know, trying to run the channels. So, you know, the centre mids was vital, and I like that. The DM, though, is still an iffy area. We signed a guy who's 30 years old. He hasn't even started a game for us, but he played for Japan and absolutely dominated Germany's midfield. Absolutely dominated them. So how can you sign a player of that quality, but you haven't even started him yet? Like, that either tells me that Klopp doesn't favour him, it wasn't his signing, or Klopp is just trying to bed him in and get him prepared for the Premier League. Because sometimes players who's just been in one division for a long period of time, when they have to adapt and change, sometimes their adaptation is quite slow. And we all know Klopp, when it comes to signing new players, he likes to bed them in. He does it with Gakpo, Nunez, Jota, you name it, he does it. So it's got to be one of the two. But for me, he has to be starting. You can't sign a DM and just keep him on the bench. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I've never been a fan of McAllister playing the 6th role, and obviously he's been okay, but I don't want to see him in that 6th role. I want to see him further forward, linking up with Szoboszlai and the rest of the guys. So like for me, I just feel like defense speaks for itself. So there's not really much I can say in that department. But I feel like toe for toe, on their day, yes, Liverpool can test Man City, but outside of the 11, you can't. And I just feel like playing in the Europa League is just going to set us back. And even if we do play youngsters and we don't take it seriously, like Klopp likes to do with these cups, but for me, I just feel like we're just going to be second best, personally. So I feel like unless a miracle hits and like Liverpool just somehow just recaptures the 2018, 2019, 2020, 21 season and just put on some magic and some juju and just go for it, then fair enough. But I just don't think that's just going to happen. So, City to win it, Liverpool to finish second. Third was a tough one because I actually put Arsenal as third. And the only reason why I put Arsenal as third is because last season they finished strong. And for me, the only thing that was stopping Arsenal from actually beating City was, number one, experience, but also experienced players. They relied on youth too much and they didn't have the experienced players to get them over the line. And for me, when they signed Timber, when they signed Declan Rice, I thought, okay, these are players that they needed. Timber can play CDM. He can also play right back. He can also play centre back. That's a versatile player. And I thought, okay, that's a good sign. Declan Rice, for me, CDM is a position that they desperately needed covering. And they got a decent guy in that position, Carl. All Arsenal needed to do next was sign backup wingers or experienced wingers, so that if Martinelli or Saka wasn't playing well, you have experienced guys to slot in. And maybe even a striker that could bag at least 20 to 30 goals. But they didn't do that. Now they're okay, Timber's not there. They've decided to put Thomas Partey at that right back position, but he's sort of trying to play that Trent role, where Trent is at right back but can drift into midfield and dictate play. There's not a lot of players that can do that. You look at the likes of Joshua Kimmich, Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe even Hakimi, maybe even Davis, Alphonso Davis, technically baller guys, technically gifted guys that can shift into the middle, that they can play a pass, they can beat their man on the run. Partey can't do neither. He can't. So to put my man in that position, to not have a backup, to get rid of Kieran Tierney, a solid left back in my eyes, who I think has been done dirty, to allow Xhaka to leave. Yes, he said that he wanted a new challenge, but I just feel like if you had done more, maybe he would have stayed. To break up that partnership of Xhaka and Partey, which was dominant last season, to then bring in Kai Havertz, who you didn't even need, and you're forcing that liability to play a position that he doesn't want to play, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then on top of that, you've gone and asked, your defense is in trouble, and Nketiah's in the room. You've asked him to now lead the line for you. Yes, he scored a couple goals, that's fine, but can he sustain that? He hasn't proven to sustain that. So for me, everything that I expected in the beginning of the season has gone a Uno reverse card and have gone completely opposite. And now Arsenal are in a position where they've struggled in every single game. The only reason why they beat United, like I said, is because United was just as bad as them. And in that whole match, let's be real, if that offside didn't happen, Arsenal would have lost anyway. So for me, I'm actually taking Arsenal out of my prediction out of the top four. And I'm going to put Arsenal fifth, personally. So where they are right now is where they're going to stay. Who I'm going to put third is going to be a surprise, but I'm actually going to put Tottenham in there. I'm going to put Tottenham in there. The reason why I'm going to put Tottenham in there is because, let's be real, Tottenham's never been the type of team to challenge for trophies anyway, i.e. domestic cups. They've never been that type of team. They've always been the type of team to try and challenge for the top four and try and remain in the top four. Now they've got rid of liabilities in their team. They've gotten rid of a guy that, yes, who scored them so many goals, but let's be real, he's also held them back in terms of the style of play that they want to play. We've always known Tottenham to play attractive football, sexy football. We've always known them to play that type of style. Youth guys that come in and are just full throttle, always going for it. They've got that now, and they've got a manager that knows how to adopt that type of style. And you can see in every single game that they've played, they've always played on the front foot. They've never been defensive. They've always gone for it. They've played fantastic football. And the one key cog was James Maddison. We've always known that Tottenham's always looked better fluidity-wise when Heung-min Son is playing, not when Harry Kane started, when Heung-min Son's playing. Now that they've got that and they've got the link-up play between Maddison and Heung-min Son, you see the interchanges. You see Bissouma getting back to his best. Kulusevski's on top form as well. The left back that Marjib said has been on point. Everyone has played their part. So for me, I feel like they're going to be an underrated standout team this season. They will. And I think the fact that there isn't any European competitions to obviously derail them, and even if there was, I don't even think they would take that seriously anyway. So for me, I'm actually putting them third. That's the only one change that I'm taking away from the first prediction, is Tottenham and Arsenal are swapping places. Fourth remains the same for me. Chelsea's finishing fourth. I don't care what Marjib's saying. I hear what he's saying, but I honestly believe that Chelsea will finish fourth. I do. If I'm wrong, then fair enough. The reason why I'm putting Chelsea fourth is I've seen more than enough to state that they will be a problem once they sort out their striker issue. They will. Defense is that will work itself out. He will play a back four. That's an understatement. But the striker situation, once Nicholas Jackson, once he gets his confidence, because it's just the lack of confidence. That's all it is. He's a young striker. He's come from a different league, a different country. He's having to adapt. There's no one else. It's not like a case of there's a Diego Costa or Didier Drogba and Jackson is behind him. So he's got the experience in front of him. He can learn from them. If it's a case of they need to drop the experienced guy and put him in there, then fair enough. He's having to lead the line by himself on his first debut season. And there's a lot of expectation and pressure on him for him to deliver, especially at a young age for a big club like Chelsea. So for me, I just feel like that's probably weighing down on his shoulders and denting his confidence a little bit. But I feel like once he gets... A sign of a good striker is even if they're not scoring, they need to be in the right positions. He's in the right positions all the time.
Yeah, that is
Same
true.
with Darwin Núñez last season. He was always in the right positions. He just didn't score. And I feel like Jackson's got that killer instinct in terms of being in the final third, being in the right position, always linking up with his wingers. He's doing that. So I feel like for me, the goals will come for you guys. The football's good and the striker's where he should be. I just feel like he just needs to score. And I think it will come. So for me, I feel like Chelsea will make top four. I'll put my hands down and I will put money on that they will score. If they don't, then fair enough. It is where it is. I'll take the L on that. But for me, I feel like they will make top four. And fifth place, as I said, is Arsenal. So City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. That's my top five.
That's surprising, actually. I wouldn't think you put Arsenal so low, but the Chelsea one's weird because obviously, as you said, the striker situation. But I don't know. I don't see enough goals in the team, and that's my issue. And that's the biggest thing. That's probably going to be our biggest downfall from not making top four. And I think that might have to be fixed over the next window. If we get Ivan Toney in January, then yeah, that might be fixed straight away. If you get a gunman in January, then we're cooking. And Kunku will be back, Lavia will be fit, most of our players will be back by then. So second half of the season might be gunman season where every man's shooting. But it's just what I've seen so far is good. It's like the underlying matrix of it all is saying that Chelsea are gonna do well, but I just need to see it. I just need back-to-back wins. I need consistency, and we got the next couple games we need to win because after that we've got a horrid run. So that's my thing. With Arsenal, I still think they'll be top four. I know that you're saying there's a bit of problems with them, but I don't know. I feel they'll still finish third. They'll finish third. I think you'll pip them because I don't think they were. I think last season for them was a fluke in the sense of the way they play in terms of the rapidity of how good they were in the first half of the season. But they still have some of those players and they still show bits and bobs. But yeah, man, it depends on how long they want to do the Kai Havertz experiment. But no money back guarantee in it. Same with United, no money back guarantee.
Yeah, the winners out of that transfer window was really and truly Chelsea, to be honest, because they screwed both teams, both their rivals. Hold that. Anyways, yeah. So internationals, the most pointless time in a football calendar year, but you know what? It's here, and we're gonna talk about two big things. I personally don't really want to talk about England because who gives a fuck? But we'll save them after this topic. So Hansi Flick has been fired from Germany. He's no longer the German manager. The ultimate dream for the German Federation is to acquire Jurgen Klopp. It's been a dream for the past, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 years, but he hasn't obviously managed them. I do believe, though, that once Jurgen Klopp does leave in 2026, I believe that he probably will end up taking that job, especially if Pep Guardiola takes an international job. I reckon he'll definitely take one because them men are just inseparable. They're like the Mourinho and Wenger, the Mourinho and Alex Ferguson type of guys. Wherever that person go, they go, and I just feel like them two will end up taking international jobs. With that being said, Julian Nagelsmann has been rumored to get the job, which is, again, the guy's a good guy. German team are quite a youngish team. He's a young manager. He pretty much would know those guys anyway. So it's a case of playing for who you know. And he probably will play a lot more attacking style anyway because he is an attacking style manager. He'll probably even bring back the three at the back with them anyway. For me, the decision that they hired Hansi Flick was a weird one for me. I actually don't think he did anything significant. And although he did win the Champions League and he's won the league, let's be real, the team was already assembled for him. He had Pep Guardiola. The team there was Pep Guardiola's. It was also, I forgot the other brother's name, the old man, I forgot his name, but he had a ready-made team. He had ready-made players there. there there was nothing for him to rebuild. There was nothing for him to do. All he needed to do was just implement the same style that's been working. He didn't need to change anything. So for me, asking a manager to go into an inexperienced manager, I might say, to go into a big club like Bayern Munich and expect them to continue on winning in a league that's pretty much a one-man league anyway, for me, isn't enough to prove that he actually deserved the German job. So I felt like his inexperience costed him the sack. And I feel like he wasn't credible enough to take that job. And it's proven because he's getting out tacticked, out battled, outwitted by international teams that Germany should be wrapping up 5-0 within the first half. And I think the icing of the cake, no disrespect, but the icing of the cake was against Japan, where they just blitzed them and dominated them, absolutely schooled them and showed them how to play football. And, when would you associate Germany playing the way that they played? You wouldn't. When it comes to the German teams of old, when they won the World Cup, they were the one blitzing teams. They were the stamina merchants. They were rapid from the full 90 minutes. They were non-stop. They were pressing you. They were outpassing you. They knew how to control the game from start to finish. Their midfield was dangerous. Their attack in wide areas were beautiful. They knew how to pass. Their defense is solid. You couldn't even get past them. Like, they were the typical German team. And gone are the days of that, They've lost their identity at the end of the day. And I feel like they need to bring in someone that's going to adopt the identity that they once had. And I feel like Julian Nagelsmann will probably do that. Again, if anybody knows his work at RB Leipzig was phenomenal under Julian Nagelsmann. They really were. They were on the next level, to be honest with you. And you can't really judge his time at Bayern Munich as anything. I think Bayern Munich are probably in a transition of they've lost their way as well since Pep Guardiola's gone. I feel like he's changed them so much that they've completely lost their identity and how they normally would play. And I feel like it's probably going to take a type of manager like a Jurgen Klopp to probably bring them back to where they used to be. But yeah, Julian Nagelsmann, probably a good appointment for them. And that's pretty much it. All I've got to say. Margie, what's your thoughts on the appointment or potential appointment, and what's your thoughts on the sacking?
Doing my research on the German team, I mean, back in the day, they were all about efficiency. Really, they were about getting counter-attacking, getting the ball into the box, and killing off a team. And I think the problem with Hansi Flick and a lot of modern day managers is they try and play this nice football style. I don't think it works for Germany. Like, it's very rare where you see an international team with a bunch of players that haven't played together play a fluid type of football, because most of these guys are from different teams playing different formations, playing different styles. So when it comes to international football, it's just about having a strong defense and being willing to counter attack. The only time we've seen a team that's been as cohesive as the club team is Spain back in the day, when half their players were from Barcelona, and a couple players were from like Real Madrid. They were pretty much the same team, and they were playing the same style, and it was pretty much identity throughout kind of what Spanish football was. In terms of Barcelona was Spain, Spain was Barcelona. But in most cases, it's not the same. When you look at the type of guys that they have in their squad, they're different players from different leagues, different positions, and the way that international players move around, they're not all in Germany. They're not all in the same country. So I think when it comes to internationals, it's about embedding the players as quickly as possible to a style of football. And the passing style that Hansi Flick wanted to play it takes a long amount of time in order for you to implement that. And because it takes a long amount of time for you to implement that style, you don't have the time in international. You got a week break, week, 14 days to do something, and then they'll back off to their clubs playing a different style completely. So by the time they come back to you in an international break, they probably forgot your teachings. They probably played a different way. And especially if they're not all in higher level teams, then they're playing we just got to defend and counter. So I think in terms of international, that's why smaller nations do well, and that's why Japan do well. It's because they play like a mid-table to lower level team. We're just gonna defend, and then we'll counter you. And because they've got the speed of Matoma and guys like that, they will hit you on the counter and blitz your team. And that's when Germany was at its best. How when they played like that, they did that, and they did the best case scenario of that was the 7-1, where they blitzed Brazil, had them man crying in their own ends, and then went on to do big things. And that is something that Germany is known for, but they've just lost their way. And I don't think Nagelsmann will be the guy to bring it back. I just think they didn't need an old school type German manager like back in the day style that's just all about efficiently way of playing, defending, focus on the defense, and get rid of the scrubs. Because how you got Kai Havertz in your team, fam? Man ain't even playing well for Arsenal when he's in the squad. I'm tired of these international managers bringing scrubs on your team. I'm looking at you, Southgate. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I feel like, and also the other thing, I noticed that Germany don't really have strikers like that. They have some youngsters coming through like Yusuf Makoko and stuff like that. But it's weird when a nation doesn't have a 9 that you can look at and say, oh, he's a gunman. I don't see that in Germany. And I think that's another issue as well. If you don't have a focal point in international football, it's not going to work for you. You look at other nations, they have that focal point. France, they have your Benzema, your Girouds. If you look at England, you got your Kane. If you look at some of the top teams, they have strikers. Like the teams that are struggling are teams without 9s. Your Brazils will struggle because their man are relying on Prue Richarlison, fam. They're relying on him. Germany are relying on a donkey in Kai Havertz, yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, how are you meant to rely on a man doing Prue, yeah? And last season, he got yellow cards for taking his top off for offside goals. Man had more top off yellow cards with offside goals and then goals from last season, and that's the striker.
Hey, man was crying on the bench, fam. Did you see him crying on the bench again? Man's got more tears than trophies.
Oh man, you know what I mean? So like, and it's a shame. One of the most deadliest strikers on the world planet right now in Haaland is with Norway. I think he needs to change up that passport player and plays for someone else, because you ain't going anywhere with them, man. You might get Euros, but you're not gonna see him on the World Cup stage. And so, yeah, I just think in international football, it's just about relying on the individuals to prop you up and playing a basic style of football, the old school 4-4-2, 4-3-3, and not fancying it up too much. Because when you go fancy, it doesn't work 99% of the time. 1% was one of the greatest international teams that we've ever seen in Spain, and I don't think that will ever be replicated or can be replicated, because they had the ideas of Pep, and they put it onto international football, and they made everyone look like bums. They made Holland play a different style when they got to that final. Holland turned to thugs in that final. That man were kicking man in the chest in that final. Holland said, total football? Nah. We taking it to the streets. That's what that final was about. So yeah, that team can't be replaced. So for me, you need to find an old school German style manager. To be honest, you're better off just waiting for Jurgen Klopp. Bring it in some, temporary dons until Jurgen Klopp, because that rock star style football is perfect for Germany. They got Sane and Gnabry on the wings. They just have to bring that Mukoko. Their midfield and defense is pretty solid. If they play that counter-attacking rock star, are we gonna just run in behind style in international? I think I believe that Jurgen Klopp will be more successful internationally than Pep Guardiola, because Pep Guardiola needs time to implement his style. Jurgen doesn't need as much time. especially with the quality of players you get on the international level and the amount of time you do have. So yeah, I think Jurgen eventually, when he's tired of FSG and their antics, go Germany and go win a World Cup, and bring pride to your nation. Because I think you're more likely to do that than any other manager out here. And yeah, but we'll talk about Pep because he's been linked with England as well. But I ain't seeing it, so we move.
Yeah, I don't see Pep doing it. Like, yeah, yeah. Listen, England was rumored to get, or not rumored, England was supposed to get Luis Felipe Scolari. And because the general media was so excited and they were harassing, and my guy decided against taking the job. It's the same thing when Jose Mourinho was rumored to get the England job. It didn't happen. Pep
Yeah,
Guardiola's being rumored to do it. It's not going to happen. Like the same point that Martin just said in the case of implementing his style. How's he going to be able to implement his style at England level when he's got mixed bags of Liverpool, United, City, Arsenal? He's got a mixed bag of everyone that's playing different styles of football. It's just not going to work. Like, to be fair, Pep Guardiola's best opportunity in terms of international is either manage Brazil or manage Spain. Those are his only two options, or even manage Netherlands. Those are his three options. Manage national countries that adopts the footballing style. Otherwise, if he goes to England, the players don't even do that. Most of them play hoof football. It's just not gonna work. It isn't, like, it's not gonna
yeah,
work. So, like, for me, like, it's a good idea and it's very ambitious. And if the FA were to achieve it, I'd be like, you know what? For the first time in my lifetime, you've actually made a right decision for England. But when do we ever know FA to make ambitious signings? They don't do it. The fact that they've given Gareth Southgate a new contract at the time when he should have been gone time ago goes to show you the lack of ambition this nation has and the FA has. The fact that people like Harry Maguire, who hasn't even played a game, and when he does, he's a liability, but still getting called up over guys like Guehi and them and there, or Tomori and them and there. The fact that Jordan Henderson, who's a liability in midfield, is getting called up over other guys that's better than him technically, physically, even fitness wise better, passing wise, just everything is just better. But he's still getting pulled up. Why? Because of leadership. It just baffles me. Like, every single international selection, every single international tournament, I always look at the squad and think, why? Why? Why are certain men there? England managers never pick players on form. They always pick players off of merit. All the time. All the time. There's so many guys that are in the youth academy, within the England ranks, or they're part of the first team, and they're doing well at club level. And Gareth Southgate's on the first team sheet always think, oh, let's bring the boys back. Harry Maguire, fucking Harry Kane needs to lead the line. Jordan Henderson needs to come. Marcus Rashford needs to come. Oh, let's bring the band back together. Let's bring the boys. Every single time. I never get it. I don't understand it. And I say this time and time again. This is why England will never win a trophy. They never will. Until they bring in a manager that actually has the IQ for talent and know who should be playing for the national team on form, not merit, and plays the correct style of football, not Sam Allardyce type of football, but football to play on the ground, possession type, that can pass the ball, that could use the wide areas, that could use the channels, just play football. England will never succeed. Ever. Ever. It doesn't matter what manager comes through that door. Hell, you can ask Mourinho to take the job. They will never be successful. Never. Never. Until they bring in guys that will do the job. It's just not going to happen, I'm afraid. And with Gareth Southgate there, yes, he is rumoured to be leaving at the end of the Euros. I don't even see England doing anything in the Euros. Let's be real. So you might as well just rip up that contract now and bring someone else in. Because at this rate, England ain't doing anything again. And I'm going to be waiting here saying, I told you so, as always, and enjoying the failure that is England. That's what I got to say. I don't even like to talk about this shit nation anyway. Why am I even talking about that?
Yeah, I know, man. Like, what I don't get is when he came in, he said he was gonna pick players based on merit and on their club form. He's picking man that are in Saudi and that aren't even on the pitch. But man, talk about club form. Jordan Pickford plays for Everton, bomb team. Yeah, Harry Maguire not even playing for United. United are trash. And did you see his performance with Johnny Evans, fam? Come on, a blind man could see he's not good enough. Who else? Jordan Henderson. Put it this way: there's a reason why he's at Al Etterick. That's Steven Gerrard, because there's no other reason he would be in Saudi, because they weren't looking at him. They weren't looking at him. Steven Gerrard said, "Hey, do you want to come over, mate? Do you want to get the bag?" And he was like, "Yeah, Steven. Well, I'll change the armband. Make sure it's not multicolored. You fool." Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. We know what you want, Jordan. Come for you. I don't get why Conor Gallagher's in the team. I mean, he's a dog. He does the the running around thing, but come on, really? England got better players than that. And I look at these attackers and I'm like, man said Eddie King and Kitty Catty, fam. Mister, your defense is in trouble and Catty is in the room. He's not even on the he wasn't even in the team against Ukraine. Why is he there? I don't know. I don't get why they bring three strikers, because we know Harry Kane plays and then the second one goes on the bench. There's no need for a third striker in the squad, because the likeliness of that third striker playing is the likeness of Harry Kane winning a trophy. It hasn't happened yet.
It's so true.
And the thing is about him as a manager is that he never showed anything beforehand to say, "Oh, he should manage England." Man was a bum at Middlesbrough, and now he's managing England, and he's picking guys that shouldn't even be on the bench, the reserves, even the reserve list, on the reserve list, and then man are starting. Big 2023, and we got Jordan Henderson and Harry Maguire in the team. And Jordan Pickford, I don't care. Jordan Pickford, he plays good for England. I don't care. He's a bum. But in terms of future managers, I think Pep wouldn't work. As you're right. The only styles of football that works is Brazil, because they like the flair thing anyway. So they just put the best players on the pitch. They're one of the only nations that can put bare attacking man and still win a tournament. They used to put like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, all of them, man. They had Roberto Carlos and Cafu, fam. Them man were more like wingers than left back and right back in the day. That man was scoring free kicks. That man were whipping it up, yeah, fam. And then having bear drinks afterwards, fam. And all the rest of that afterwards. They win a tournament and they partay.
In the favelas, fam.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Spain, I get it. Spain and Holland are similar styles of football, because Holland total football and Spain adapted it through Pep. So that makes sense. But England, we've never put forth a style through from the youth setup to all the way. The biggest problem with England national team is that you don't start it from the beginning. Every coach that comes through your system is average or bad, right? Like Eddie Howe is probably your best coach. Graham Potter is decent as well, but there's a reason why since '92 an English manager hasn't won the Premier League. It's because the style of coaching that you're doing the academy systems are in terms of like top teams are good, but the rest of these teams are failing. It's all about this 4-4-2 nonsense and all that. You have to start from the ground roots, the grassroots. You have to change the whole culture, the philosophy of how football is playing. When you go from England under 18s, under 21s, it needs to be the same style. So when a player pushes through to the national team, they're all living and breathing that English style of football. And I don't see it. I don't know what the English style. Back in the day it was 4-4-2, hoof up to the big man, down to the little guy, and we go from there from Heskey and Owen time. You know, back in the day when Scholes was playing on the left mid, even though he wasn't the left mid. Style like that, yeah. Bring that back. Because that's the only style we know, man. 4-4-2. I'm tired of this 4-3-3 nonsense, fam. Let's do it old school. Bring back Peter Crouch and just boot it up to him. Because that's the kind of players that if you're gonna play Harry Maguire and Jordan Henderson, do old school style 4-4-2, fam. Play Bellingham left mid, even though you can't play left mid because you know you got too many midfielders anyway. Play Raheem on the right, and then have a front two of Harry Kane and someone else, fam. It don't matter who someone else is. Maybe James Maddison, like as a second striker, and do the thing there, because that's the only style we know. Because if we go through from bottom to top, that's the only style English fans and English proper people know. You know, back in the day, early 2000s football style. And to be honest with you, I think it's a style that needs to come back because it's all good and well having a lone man up there, but two is better than one, and we all know that. And I feel like in international, that style will surprise more teams than anything. And that's what international football is about. The team that normally wins the tournaments are the teams that surprise you, that do something different that you haven't seen for in a while. That's why Spain was so fresh, because when they came in with that style of football, everyone was mesmerized. They were looking at next thing they know, goal. Brazil, they were just skilling you. They were skinning you left, right, and center. Ronaldinho bit that. Ronaldo with a bit that. Hell, man, come back with a beer belly and still score goals and win tournaments and that. So that man had more quality in their left feet than most man on both. So it was kind of a thing of they had quality in abundance. Like they had about 6-7 man that can take a free kick and whip it top bins. So that's what normally happens on the international level. So for England, it's really a thing of, I think we go back old school. I'll be honest, I think the best choice they ever made was bringing in what's his name, Sam Allardyce, but they never went through with it. I think if he never did the dodgy stuff and you know what, this is just like England. As soon as someone comes in with a good job, the man want to always the newspapers always want to make them look bad. Bring back Sam Allardyce, do the 4-4-2 style, and let's go old school back in the day and grind it out. Yeah, because international football is about punching man up and scoring goals. That's all it's about. It ain't fancy. You want to win a tournament, you need the dirts. And the thing is, the only modern day manager that does dirty football and does it well is probably Jose. So give me Jose, fam. Give me Jose and let him be a bastard. Let him be at the press conferences talking all that was, riling up every other team. You know what I'm saying? I want him on the touchline, chatting bare nonsense to every other manager. You know, I need eye pokes, eye gouges, all sorts. You know, dark arts. Bring the dark arts to football because that's what we need, man. 4-4-2, Jose, dark arts. That's what I want. Old school style, big man, little man thing. I miss it, man. I miss it. Yeah, because you know how dark arts work. Look at how Chiellini pulled onto, was it Saka, and got away with it, fam, and pulled him back. We need to be doing that. It's like, go over here. They got away with that. So it's knowing it international, you can get away with them things there, fam. Just do it 24/7, 365. We're on the smoke. That's what we need.
Maddie even get a yellow card for that as well. That's what's even more funny about that whole thing, that whole challenge. But yeah, man, we move, man. We close on that statement. Obviously, you know, international football's ending soon. Premier League is returning. Liverpool versus Wolves is going to be taking place Saturday lunchtime kickoff. I'm looking forward to that. Plus, I need that fantasy football league to come back anyway, man. Because I've been looking at my team and I want to make some changes. So yeah, Premier League needs to hurry up and return. I get bored out here just reading these stupid news about fucking international football, etc. So yeah, but yeah, man, that's me on the pods. Obviously, we'll return again next week Tuesday, and then yeah, it's a Luke signing out.
Yeah, man. Another good pod. I just hope that no more injuries happen. That's all I need. Anyone who's on my fantasy team, stay safe, innit? Play like 5-10 minutes. Don't get injured. And if you get a little knock, even if it's like a little scratch, just pretend you're fully injured and get off that pitch because I need them points. I'm top right now and I want to stay winning. But apart from that, great episode. Southgate out. Yeah, Chelsea got I don't know who we have on the weekend, man. It's been a long week, so I don't know who we got on the weekend. Let me double check. Let's see who we got on the weekend. Who do we have? Bournemouth away. Oh,
That's an
damn.
easy one, man. You got that.
Damn, we need to win that. So that needs to be a big 3 points. I need a 5-0. I need 6. I need goals. I need to believe in my team again because I don't believe right now. I don't believe so much. I'm wearing stuff from NBA, fam. 2 different teams, fam. That's how much I don't believe, fam. I'm not even wearing blue. I'm wearing green. And it's not St. Patrick's Day. So make me believe again. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, that though, we are here, man. We are here. But before we leave, United, with that.
And this is foosball.